What is up, everyone? It is I, DPX. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast, DPX Talks, for about an hour. Today is May 9th, 2024. It's 11:34 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm your host, DPX. I was gonna have a guest on here today, but didn't really work out. So we'll reschedule. Maybe next month we'll get a guest on here. But I got some topics I want to talk about. We got, I'm going to talk about everything going on with Microsoft right now. I got quite a few things to say about that. We get a somewhat official announcement of the Nintendo Switch 2, or the next Nintendo console, Nintendo World Championships. NES Edition is official, and it looks really cool. We got our first look at James Gunn's new Superman movie, like the look at David Corenswet, I think his name is, as Superman. I'm even going to talk about the Kendrick Lamar Vs Drake feud, and a whole bunch more. But yeah, this is kind of a rant. I'm going to start off with a rant that I don't really know where this is gonna go, if I'm gonna be honest. But it's May 9th, of course, which means it's allergy season, and I fucking hate allergies. You can maybe tell that I have some allergies right now. I've already had to pause it to blow my nose a couple of times, and I hate it. Yeah, I might sound a little stuffy right now. I'm trying not to sniff too much, but I hate allergies. Why does allergy season exist? Why does this exist? That was our little rant. Okay, it didn't really go anywhere necessarily, but okay, I listed all the topics I got, but there's some other smaller topics. There's a new game came out today that wasn't even really on my radar at all. Sorry, I just saw a notification about amiibos that went up, and I'm like, oh shit, but no, they're not. I'm still collecting amiibos, by the way. But there's a new game that came out today that I really wasn't on my radar at all, and then I saw a bunch of reviews go up for it, and then I saw that it was available on PS Plus Extra, so it was free. And that's a game called Animal Well, and I've played a little bit of it, and it's Donkey's new game. Video Game Donkey, his game company, Big Mode. They put out, they made this game, and I gotta say it's pretty cool so far. One second. It's like this little, the game kind of drops you right in, and it doesn't really tell you what to do. It doesn't need to hold your hand, but it's very. I'm saying this as a good thing, by the way. It's very mysterious. It's very what the fuck is going on? There really wasn't much of a plot either, from what I gathered. It seems to be some Metroidvania sort of puzzle game, and the art style looks really sick, and I think there are enemies in the game, and the way you attack them is very interesting. And yeah, it's just a fun game. I don't know if I'm gonna review it, just because, well, it's not a very long game, but I do got a lot going on. Basically, right after I filmed this episode, I have quite a bit going on. So I don't know if I'll review it, but pretty cool game. If you have PS Plus Extra, I'd suggest you get Animal Well. So yeah, another game that came out recently, a game that I am not playing yet, and I'll tell you why I'm not going to play it yet. Hades 2, a game I'm really looking forward to. I don't even like roguelikes, I admire and I respect the idea of roguelikes, because I think it's a very interesting idea, where it's you die, and you, have to start over. You have to basically beat the game in, one clean run. Or it could be, every time you die, the game changes. You just played through this level, but now you're dead, the level's completely different, so you have to like adapt in a new way. That's an interesting idea. I feel like just personally it doesn't always work for me, but Hades was always like the major exception. I would list a few other games that I considered exceptions, you know. Games like Binding of Isaac I really like. I really like Returnal. I really like the God of War Ragnarok DLC, the Valhalla DLC. But Rogue Legacy is alright, but Hades is like the best. So excuse me. So yeah, I played Hades, the first game, and I love it. You know, a roguelike that I love. Hades 2 comes out, early access on Steam. They kind of like shadow dropped it, and it's getting rave reviews. I mean, I guess I could play it. Here's the thing, I don't play games on my PC though. You know, I don't play games on my PC. Specifically because I don't think this PC that I'm using right now is... I mean, I got it looking for, like, a PC that can run video games. Like, so... I probably could play Hades 2, but, like, I just feel like it's not gonna run the best on here. I could try, but I don't want to spend $30 just for it to not work. I could always refund it, but like, it just seems a little odd. Yeah. Times like this is when I wish I have like a good gaming PC, but yeah, the game's Hades 2 is gonna be early access, on PC, and it's gonna, apparently last, through the end of 2024. I remember Hades 1, excuse me, not too many people were talking about it when it was in early access, but I do remember, like, seeing it, it was in early access on PC, like, I think, like, 2019, and then it, like, got its full release in 2020, and it came out on console as well, or at least on Switch, and then, excuse me, and then that's when it got all the awards buzz. This is the early access version, so I don't know if will it get the awards buzz. I don't know, but yeah, I'll get it when I get the chance to. The interesting thing is, at the beginning of the year, I did my list of my top 10 most anticipated games of the year, and then every year through the, like, by the second half of the year, so like late June, early July, every year I revisit the list, I redo the list and do like the top 10 most anticipated games for the second half of the year. Alright? The funny thing is, like, I think Star Wars Outlaws was on my list in January. So aside from that, every other game on that list will have already been out by the time I redo the list. Which means, like, with the exception of just one game, it's going to be a completely different list. Which is going to be pretty cool. You know, I guess Hades 2 is technically, yeah, I don't know, like, it would be a little odd if I put it on the June-July list, you know what I mean? Considering, like, if I really wanted to, I could play it. But yeah, well, Hades 2 is getting some rave reviews, and yeah, I can't wait to play it whenever I do. So yeah, another smaller topic. I'm not going to talk about this one too much because I feel like it's all like said and done. Last week, Sony announced that they were going to be starting. It was like May 6th that they said it was going to start. Helldivers 2 on Steam was going to require a PSN login. So basically, Helldivers 2 is Sony's new, like, multiplayer shooter game that they have on PlayStation and PC and Steam. And like, obviously, if you're playing on PlayStation, you're already logged into PSN. But on Steam, you know, it was going to require a login. It doesn't it didn't before, but it was going to, and that created some issues because, like, obviously, I don't think people like games that make you log in, you know. And also, some countries don't really have PSN, I think. So, the game was delisted in 117 or something like that, different countries. And then, like, people would request refunds for the game, even if they exceeded the limit. You know what I mean? Well, Sony has walked it back. And they have, like, they walked it back. So, yeah, this was a time where, like, I guess bullying a company works. You know, the consensus was that Sony was not going to walk it back. And I was kind of leaning towards that, but I was kind of thinking, you know, this is getting bad, and they haven't put this in the game yet. They haven't made this change yet. I could see them maybe walking it back, you know? And they did. So, props to Sony for walking it back. I don't want to give them too many props because they shouldn't have done this in the first place, but yeah, I feel like most companies wouldn't have done that. Wouldn't have, you know... There's another one of the big three that is that did something that everyone's hating on, and unlike Sony and the Helldivers 2 PSN login, the thing that Microsoft did isn't really reversible. We'll get to that. I think I'll save that one for last. You know, I like to save the big juiciest topic for last. By the way, I just want to say I've mentioned that, like, I was not excited for Helldivers 2 to the point where, like, I just didn't even play it, and I didn't even, like, bat an eye at it, and then it just blew up, and I said, I'll get it eventually. I got it, and, it's a lot of fun. It's definitely a lot of fun. It's not my kind of game, really. Like, I don't hate multiplayer games, but, like, you know, I feel like we're getting... like, the market's a bit oversaturated. We're getting too many of them, and everyone's just like... Everyone wants to be like Fortnite, but, Helldivers 2 isn't really like Fortnite. It's like, it's Helldivers 2. I feel like we're gonna get some games that want to be like Helldivers 2. You know, maybe not to the extent of Fortnite, with the Battle Royale craze, but I feel like we will eventually possibly get, yeah, I think we'll get some games that are like Helldivers 2. It's a lot of fun, you know. It just shoot up enemies, and like, it can get difficult at times, but you know, you're on a team. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I don't have much to say about it really, but other than that, we're gonna move on to some bigger topics. One big topic. Okay, I want to expose my knowledge a little bit, because if you've been online at all for like any amount of time for the past like week or so, you might know about two rappers that are beefing with each other. One by the name of Kendrick Lamar and one by the name of Drake. Now look, I like music, you know, but you might notice that I never really talk about it on this channel or this podcast. You know, this podcast I've talked about gaming, movies, TV, wrestling. I think I talked about when the Choco Taco was discontinued. I've talked about YouTube drama. I've talked about like stuff that YouTube has done, stuff that Twitch has done, stuff that Twitter has done. You know, I don't think I've talked about music before. Look, to give a little background, I like Kendrick Lamar. I think his music goes hard. I liked Drake. Like, some of his older music is pretty good, but I feel like recently, his music is kind of like, what the fuck are you even doing? Like, she say she a lesbian, me too, or whatever that line was. Like, what the fuck is that? What? Like, I think you should not be allowed to make music after that. But yeah, Drake and Kendrick are beefing with each other. And I'm going to expose my lack of knowledge here. I was really hoping I was to get a guest on here, because the guest I was going to have was, like, this was more up their alley, but I guess not. So instead, I'm looking at the New York Times, excuse me, and Kendrick Lamar vs. Drake beef. Let me redo that. Kendrick Lamar vs. Drake beef goes nuclear. What to know? So, this is by Joe Coscarelli. So, credit to him. So yeah, this just reads, the long-building and increasingly testy rap beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake exploded into full-bore acrimony and unverifiable accusations. I'm sorry, my reading comprehension could be a bit shit. Unverifiable accusations over the weekend. This was published on May 6th, so, okay. Well, updated yesterday, actually, so there we go. Both artists rapid-fire released multiple songs littered with attacks regarding race, appropriation, sexual and physical abuse, body image, misogyny, hypocrisy, generational trauma, and more. Most relentless was Lamar, sorry, something just, an ad popped up, so I completely just lost. There we go. A Pulitzer Prize winner from Compton, California, who tends toward the isolated and considered, but has now released four verbose and conceptual diss tracks, totaling more than 20 minutes of new music targeting Drake in the last week, including 3 since Friday. Each track racked up millions of streams, and the 3 that were made available commercially, Euphoria, Meet the Grams, and Not Like Us, are expected to land near the top of next week's Billboard singles chart, while seeming to at least momentarily shift the public perception of Drake along a maestro of the public arena and meme ecosystem. In between, on Friday night, Drake released his own broadside against Lamar, plus a smattering of other recent challengers, in a teasing Instagram interlude, plus a 3-part track and elaborate music video titled Family Matters, in which he referred to his rival as a fake activist and attempted to expose friction and alleged abuse in Lamar's romantic relation. But that song was followed within half an hour by Lamar's Meet the Grams, an ominous extended address to the parents and young son of Drake, born Aubrey Graham, in which Lamar refers to his rival rapper as a liar and a pervert who should die in order to make the world safer for women. Lamar also seemed to assert that Drake had more than a decade ago fathered a secret daughter, echoing the big reveal of his son from Drake's last headline rap beef, a claim Drake quickly denied on Instagram before hitting back in another song on Sunday. And it says neither man has addressed the full array of wrapped allegations directly. On Tuesday, a security guard was shot. Yeah, this is where it takes a turn. On Tuesday, a security guard was shot and was seriously injured outside of Drake's Toronto home, which appeared on the cover art of Lamar's Not Like Us. Authorities said they could not yet speak to a motive in the shooting, but the investigation was ongoing. Representatives for Drake and Lamar did not immediately comment. How did two of the most famous artists in the world decide to take the gloves off and bring real-life venom into an extended sparring match for rap supremacy. It was weeks, months, and years in the making, with a sudden breakneck escalation into hip-hop infamy. And then it gives a bit of a breakdown. Guess I'll read through the breakdown a little bit. I just lost my spot. I'm getting a fucking bullshit call. Fuck off. Since late March, the much-anticipated head-to-head seemed inevitable. Following years of will they or won't they lyrical feints, Lamar hit directly on record, first this year during a surprise appearance on the song Like That by the Atlanta rapper Future and the producer Metro Boomin, both formerly frequent Drake collaborators. With audible disgust, Lamar invoked the track First Person Shooter from last year's Drake album, For All the Dogs, in which a guest verse from J. Cole referred to himself referred to himself, Drake, and Lamar as the Big Three of the modern MCs. Lamar took an exception to the grouping, declaring that there was no Big Three, just Big Me. He also called himself the Prince to Drake's Michael Jackson. Jeez. A deeper, more complex artist versus a troubled, pop-oriented hitmaker. Like That spent 3 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, as Future and Metro Boomin released 2 chart-topping albums, We Don't Trust You and We Still Don't Trust You. They were anchored by a parade of Drake's past associates, with each of whom seemed to share a simmering distaste toward the rapper, who later called the ambush 20v1 fight. Okay, well, there's more to it. There's more to, like, the breakdown, but pretty much, yeah, Drake and Kendrick are beefing. I've not actually gotten to sit down and listen to, like, each of the tracks, but I have heard some of Kendrick's bars on Drake. If I can find, I have a couple of them. If I can find it, I have a couple of them on here. So we got one. This is from wait, no, there's, okay, over here. Rock, this is from Kendrick. Rock, dad fuck him up. Rock, I'ma do my stuff. Why he trolling like a bitch? You ain't tired. Trying to strike a chord and it's probably A minor. They not like us. But, like, trying to strike a chord and it's probably A minor. Like, that is hard. And then we got another one. Dear Adonis, I'm sorry that man is your father. Let me be honest. It takes a man to be a man. Your dad is not responsive. I look at him and wish your grandpa would have wore a condom. Holy fuck. And we gotta raise, this is a different line. We gotta raise our daughters knowing there's predators like him lurking. Fuck a rap battle, he should die so all of these women can have can live with a purpose. So yeah, that is that's the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef. The tracks are out there. I heard that Kendrick is actually not striking down people that are, like, reacting to his music. So that's, I gotta respect that. And yeah, he's really, like, I think he tore Drake apart. But yeah, that's someone who's, like, not really into the rap scene that much. His thoughts on this rap beef. So yeah, moving on. We got a new announcement from Nintendo. What a fucking change of pace. You know, what a shift. You know what I mean? But so like it was like last week, Nintendo. Oh no, Pioro, a very credible and possibly the only like the most credible Nintendo leaker. Excuse me. Basically leaked that a game called Nintendo World Championships NES Edition was going to be coming out for the Switch, and then the ESRB leaked it like soon, or they might have leaked it before Pioro. I don't remember, but sorry, it just hit the. But a few days ago, it was officially revealed that the Nintendo World Championships NES Edition is happening, and this comes to us from IGN. Nintendo World Championship, or Nintendo announces Nintendo World Championships NES Edition for Switch with release date and debut trailer. Nintendo has announced Nintendo World Championships NES Edition after the game was leaked via an ESRB rating. The game is now available for pre-order. The upcoming Switch game includes over 150 challenges from across 13 different NES games, with speedrun mode, global online leaderboards in World Championship mode, and up to 8 players in local party mode. These bite-sized challenges have an automatic rewind feature, letting you try again if you fail. Nintendo Switch Online members can enter World Championships mode to submit their best times in 5 challenges that rotate each week and compete for a spot on the global leaderboard. Nintendo released a debut trailer below, which is, you can't see it, but it's there, that leans into the famous 1990 US tournament upon which this new game is based on. That Nintendo tournament used a custom NES cartridge that includes minigames based on Super Mario Bros., Rad Racer, and Tetris. The Nintendo World Championship 1990 game pack is now considered the most valuable NES cartridge ever released. Is that, or is it? I thought it was Stadium Events. Nintendo World Championship NES Edition launches on Nintendo eShop, priced $30 or $29.99 on July 18th, 2024. A $60 deluxe set is also available. The deluxe set, pictured below, includes a gold-colored replica cartridge and stand to commemorate the 1990 World Championships, as well as 13 art cards, one for each NES title represented in the game, and pins modeled after 4 in-game badges and the game logo. It also includes a physical version of the game. Pre-orders for the games that are included are Balloon Fight, Donkey Kong, Excite Bike, Ice Climber. Why is Ice Climber always included in these fucking things? Kid Icarus, Kirby's Adventure, Metroid, Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, Legend of Zelda, and Zelda 2: Adventure of Link. Yeah, it's looking pretty cool. I watched the trailer, and it pays like really cool homage to the Nintendo World Championship, and I'd say it looks like a lot of fun. That physical deluxe, that collector's edition, looks so cool. I actually snagged one. I pre-ordered one. With the actual cartridge and like a physical game, like that's a game I would have been fine spending like $30 on. But like I got like I don't buy collector's editions that much, but this was fucking sick. I guess it's just the collector's edition was the price of a full price game. You know what I mean? So yeah, pretty cool. It almost seems like NES Remix, like with challenges and stuff. There's more to say about the future of the Switch later, as I'll talk about the Switch 2. But I'm excited for this. It comes out the same day as part 1 of Cobra Kai season 6, which that's also going to be something I'm going to talk about later. But yeah, like, it's just it's cool that they're doing this. You know what I mean? Because like Nintendo, like every now and then I see that they do the Nintendo World Championship, right? They'll do something like that every now and then, but they never would make a game around it. You know, it seems like they never even acknowledge that the original game exists. You know, and of course, like, it was given out as like a prize for the winner of the actual tournament, and it became like a collector's item. So it's cool that they're acknowledging it, and it seems like they're kind of like re-releasing it like as like a reproduction cartridge almost. You know. Yeah, sorry, I just, going back to my allergies, I just had to get up and, do a little spray to my throat. That fucking sucks. But, yeah, I don't think I have a whole lot else to say about the Nintendo World Championships NES Edition. I just think, it's just cool, you know? I do gotta say, if this is the, so the Switch 2, according to all the reports, it's going to be coming out early 2025. So, which means this is the last year for the Switch. And obviously, like, it's not the craziest year for the Switch, but like for a last year for a Nintendo console, like, those are usually fucking, there's like nothing. This is actually pretty good, all things considered. You know what I mean? Well, maybe not all things, but this is pretty good when you consider, like, all the other Nintendo last year for their consoles. You know what I mean? Like, the Wii U had nothing. The Wii had, like, Xenoblade and, like, Kirby Dream Collection. The GameCube had, like, nothing. The N64 had nothing. This, like, we're still kind of getting a new game every month, you know what I mean? Even if, like, a lot of them, like, in fact, like, 90% of them are re-releases, we're still getting something every month. I don't think we got anything last month, actually, but other than that, like, so, you know, I just think that's, something to, consider, and I think it's even cooler that, like, we get a game that looks like just a nice throwback, just a nice love letter. It is kind of a re-release, but also not really. But yeah, I'm excited for Nintendo World Championship NES Edition. Maybe in the future they can do, like, SNES Edition. Even though there was never really, to my memory, I don't think there was, like, ever really, like, there was the Campus Challenge and Power Fest. Maybe they can do that, or something like that. But, like, they should, like, I feel like we've gotten these re-releases for NES games a lot. Like, we got NES Remix 1 and 2. We never got an SNES Remix. We're getting Nintendo World Championships NES Edition. Maybe in the future we can get Nintendo World Championships SNES Edition, N64 Edition. Even Game Boy. You can do Game Boy. But yeah, that's that. Moving on. Still got some topics here to talk about. We got, so in case, I realize I rarely ever talked about this, but, yeah, I'm just pulling up the picture. I realize I, like, rarely ever talk about this on here, not because I avoid it, but, like, because every time something with James Gunn's new DC universe has come up, I feel like it's always come up, and, like, it never really lines up with the podcast, you know what I mean? But James Gunn is working on the new DC universe, the DCU, and the first movie is Superman. Was gonna be called Superman Legacy, but is now just called Superman. Yeah, and we got, it's gonna be a younger Superman, and, named, played by a guy named David Corenswet, who I've admittedly never heard of before this. So, and and from, like, I've heard people who've covered the casting. Like, the casting was done a while ago. It was announced a while ago. I've heard people who cover the casting and say, like, he's not the biggest name. So, hopefully this seems to be, like, his big break. So, good for him. But we just got our first look at the Superman suit. And there's, like, I've seen some memes going around, and they are funny, but this isn't bad. I'd say it looks pretty cool. It looks like the red underwear, you know what I mean? Like the red underwear looking thing on his suit is there, which I'm not sure how I feel about that. That always made him look a little cartoony, but I think this looks really cool. He's got, like, he's definitely, it definitely looks like he's just gotten back from a fight, you know? Like, if you look at the S, which I think the S looks pretty cool, but if you look at the S on his chest, sorry if the mic, if I sounded a bit loud for a second. I just moved, I moved up to see the photo. I guess I moved closer to the mic, but yeah, you can definitely see some stubble on his S, and yeah, I think it looks cool. The memes have been funny, though. People are shitting on this, though. Like, there's people memeing, and then there's people shitting on it. I don't get why people are shitting on this. This actually looks really sick. I'm interested in what's going on in the back, though. What the fuck is that? If you see it. It's in the background, you know. If you're watching on YouTube, like, got my webcam. Behind me is this photo that I'm talking about. This movie that I think is supposed to come out in July of next year, and I think it's very important that this movie's good, because DC, even if they've had some good movies, like, they haven't had, they've just been tanking at the box office. They've just not been doing well at all. So, I think, maybe, I don't know if it is the fact that people have moved on from DC, from the DCEU. That's part of it. But I feel like it might also be, some people might just know that we're getting a reboot, a new DC universe. So they weren't interested in Aquaman, they weren't interested in Flash, they weren't interested in Shazam, you know. So I think that might have been that. But I hope this does well, and I hope it's good, because I think this suit looks really cool, minus the red underwear, David Corenswet definitely looks the part. If he's playing a young, Superman, he definitely looks the part. So, yeah, that's that. I guess I don't have too much to say about this, because I guess, it's a photo, you know. But, yeah, pretty cool. Moving on. I mentioned this for a second earlier, but Cobra Kai is one of my it's probably my top 3 favorite show. The only 2 shows I like more than it is Avatar: The Last Airbender and Breaking Bad. You know, because those are masterpieces, and also they're complete. They're done. Cobra Kai is not quite, but the final season is coming out, and they're making it bigger. And 15 episodes. All the other seasons had 10 episodes. This one's got 15. And they're releasing it in 3 separate parts, which is really cool. Because one thing, I really thought that, you know, so how I got into Cobra Kai, it wasn't I didn't watch it when it was on YouTube, you know. It started as a YouTube Red show, or YouTube original. I didn't watch it on there. I didn't watch it till well after it went to Netflix. Like, it, excuse me, like, it wasn't even, like, it wasn't like I watched it right when it dropped on Netflix. No, I didn't watch it for a bit after it dropped. Like, what am I saying? It dropped on Netflix, but I didn't even watch it till quite a bit afterwards. I'm not even, like, the biggest fan of the Karate Kid movies, you know? Like, obviously, I've seen them. Beforehand, I've seen the first movie, and the first movie's a classic, but, like, when I say I'm a fan of this franchise, I think it's more so Cobra Kai. But, yeah, the way I got into it was, like, I binged the first 3 seasons, you know? And it was it was pretty soon after season 3 came out. And funny enough, like, it was a show that was on my radar, a show I was, like, thinking about seeing, but I never really had like, if I'm unsure, like, if I'm planning on watching a show, like, sometimes it just doesn't, I just don't do it until, like, I'm like, all right, fine, let's go. And I remember, like, just one of my, I think it was Anthinator, the Squid Man, in the Discord server. There's, like, a recommendations channel, and he recommended Cobra Kai for everyone. I'm like, you know, I've been planning on watching this show, and you're recommending it, and I got nothing going on, so why not just watch it? And I watched it, and first season, hooked. Second season, hooked. Especially that finale of the second season, that got me, like, really, like, normally I like to maybe wait to start watching the next season, if you know what I mean. You know, just let it sink in and let it feel like there's at least, like, a gap. But after I watched the season 2 finale, I'm like, I gotta watch season 3 right now! So I did that, and then the wait for season 4 was painful. Because, like, I just binged the whole show up to that point, and then I had to wait almost a full year for, like, for the next season. Season 4 came out, and then, like, not even a full year later, season 5 came out, and now it's been over a year. But I guess, like, the wait wasn't as painful because, like I can't really get enough of this show. But, like, I've been into it for quite a bit, though, so it's not like I need more, you know, I wasn't like, you know what I mean? But either way, the thing about season 5, I got really off track there. The thing about season 5 was, like, I waited a while for it, and I ended up binging it all in one day. I'm like, well, shit, I'm done with it already. I ended up rewatching it a few times because it's such a rewatchable show. But the cool thing is, they're not doing that this time. They're splitting it up. What I find interesting, though, is how they're splitting it up. Obviously, like, I think it's pretty safe to assume that 15 episodes. They're doing 15 now, not 10. 15 episodes. And they're splitting it into 3 parts. So I think it's safe to assume that part 1's going to be 5 episodes. Part 2 is going to be another 5. Part 3 is going to be another 5. The interesting thing is, part 1 is on July 18th. Like I said, the same day as Nintendo World Championship. Excuse me. Part 2 will be on November 28th, Thanksgiving Day. That's a 4-month wait. Which is very odd, you know? Like, I think the show maybe loses some momentum if you wait that long. Obviously, like, the strikes had something to do with it, both in, like, the production of the show and also, like, maybe Netflix's release schedule. They want to have some more stuff going on, but because of the strikes, like, there's gonna be, like, a void with just nothing. Where just nothing comes out, right? So that happened. So the strikes happened. So maybe they want to spread this show. I forgot to mention, by the way, part 3 comes out sometime in 2025. I would assume, like, maybe January or February. You know, I would hope it's not another 4-month wait. But yeah. So you get like Netflix needs some more releases in their schedule, Cobra Kai, like the crew behind it, probably needs more time to work on the show. That I wouldn't be surprised if they haven't actually wrapped. Correct me if I'm wrong. They might have finished filming, but so that they possibly, they possibly, like, it's a combination of, like, Netflix needs, like, these time slots, like, these spaces, like, they need something in July, and they need something in November, and they need something in early 2025, plus the crew behind Cobra Kai probably needs more time to work on the show. Either way, I'm excited. I'll be there. I'll make 3 different reviews. I don't know if I'm doing, like, past 2 seasons of Cobra Kai. Me, Gus, ML, Anthony was in one of them. We've done spoiler talks on Season 4 and Season 5. They're episodes of this podcast. You can go back and watch those, actually. You know, then... but I don't know if I'll do a spoiler talk, 3 different spoiler talks. Maybe we'll just do one when the season ends. But I'm excited either way. What do you guys think about that, though? Moving on to one of the big things that happened. What the fuck? Why did it go away? I had it open, and then it just... I clicked on the tab, and it just went away. Fuck was that about? Okay, we're back. We're back. So... for so many years, we've been hearing rumors of the next Nintendo Switch, the next Nintendo console. And it's gotten to the point where I've gotten sick of, like, listening to them and sick of talking about them. So the reason I don't really cover them too much is because I stopped caring. I'm like, I don't care. Just let me know when there's something actually official. We finally got something official about the Switch 2. This comes to us from the Nintendo of Japan, like the business Twitter page. I'm not entirely sure. Translated from Japanese, it says, "This is Furukawa, president of Nintendo." I just want to say, by the way, that's definitely not Furukawa. You know, he definitely did not say that. So this is just someone posing as him. But we will make an announcement about the successor to Nintendo Switch within this fiscal year. So that means, like, by the end of March 2025. It will have been over 9 years since we announced the existence of Nintendo Switch back in March 2015. That's wild, by the way. We will be holding a Nintendo Direct this June regarding the Nintendo Switch software lineup for the latter half of 2024, but please be aware that there will be no mention of the Nintendo Switch successor during that presentation. So once again, that comes to us from the Japanese Nintendo corporate Twitter account, someone posing as the president Furukawa, but that's probably something he told them to say, though. Quite a few things to unpack here. First of all, holy shit, it's been 9 years, over 9 years since we've gotten the announcement about the existence of the Switch back in March 2015. Like, I remember that. I remember when everyone was talking about the NX. That does not feel like 9 years ago. So yeah, that's something to let sink in for a second. But the other thing is, so it's official. We actually got an official word that the Nintendo Switch successor is, like, it exists. And, like, we got word that we will hear about it by the end of the fiscal year. So by the end of March 2025. And then they also announced that they're doing a Nintendo Direct in June. And I was a little unsure if they were going to do one. Excuse me. I thought that they were going to do some sort of presentation in June. But, like, they had a partner showcase excuse me, they had a partner showcase in February. In February, they usually have a direct. But, excuse me, they had a partner showcase, probably because they didn't really have anything first party to announce. But all these partners wanted some stuff to talk about. That's fine. So they're in an interesting spot in June, where it's like, they have some games to announce, because I do think there are some games that they are going to announce. There's apparently like a Fire Emblem remake that's in development that is ready to go, and they should announce that soon, and it should release before the end of the year. Nintendo does that a lot. They'll have a game, work on it, and they'll finish development, and it'll just sit there for a year until they're ready to reveal it, and then pretty soon afterwards they'll release it. I feel like the outliers are like Tears of the Kingdom and Metroid Prime 4. But, I don't know if you hear that, but there's noise in the back. But they're in an interesting spot where they have a direct where they reveal Switch games, but we're still waiting, and we know now that there is another Nintendo Switch or Nintendo console. And can I just say, I feel like, I don't think they'll do this because they've never done this before, but I think the best thing to do is to call it the Nintendo Switch 2. Because, like, you know, you don't want confusion like how you had with the Wii U, because that was like, oh, like, casual audiences were like, oh, is this a new Nintendo, like, a new add-on for the Wii? Because they kept, the marketing kept emphasizing the new controller, and the other controllers, aside from the gamepad, that they kept using were the Wii Remote. And you can see from the distance the console, and it looked exactly like a Wii, just flipped to its side. So that caused a lot of confusion. But also, you know, they wanted to keep the Wii name. So, okay, maybe this time, like, the way you avoid confusion by keeping the Switch name is just calling it the Nintendo Switch 2. Because that tells everyone, oh, this is the next Nintendo Switch, you know. I think we'll get an announcement. I thought we would get an announcement, like, by the end of the year. Maybe once they are done with, like, they got all their games out that they need, you know. I don't think it's a good idea to announce, like, to officially unveil the next console when you still got some games coming out on the current console. I don't think that's a good idea, because you kind of kneecap sales and interest in the Switch when you do that. So I would assume maybe, like, they'll have a game like, ready to go, I'm sure, in November. And they used to have a December game all the time, but they don't do that anymore. So maybe they'll have a reveal in December. I don't know if they'll do it at the Game Awards. Maybe they might, but because the Xbox Series X was revealed at the Game Awards one year, but that's Microsoft. This is Nintendo. So what I think might be possible, I don't hear anyone floating this around. They say it will be announced by the end of the fiscal year 2020, by the end of the fiscal year, which, like I said, is the end of March 2025. Is it possible we don't even get the announcement of this thing? We don't even get the unveiling of this thing till next year? Like, I don't think we're gonna have to wait until March. People are speculating that's when it's gonna come out. Look, just because the Switch came out in March doesn't mean the Switch 2 is gonna come out in March. It could, but I don't know if that, like, we're, like, they say that we're getting the reveal by March. I think it's possible we can get maybe a reveal in January, and then maybe a release in, like, maybe in, like, summer. Have they done, like, console releases over the summer? Like, I don't think they're gonna do it in well, at the same time, I don't know, actually. March might be their best bet, actually, the more I think about it, because, like, they're gonna need to have something like some games out, like if they're gonna wait halfway through the year. I don't know. Very interesting. And I'm also interested in what this June Direct is gonna be, because they're doing a Direct. Like, I feel like they wouldn't say that in here if it was a partner showcase. So, they got some stuff to announce, which I think is interesting. What do you guys think about this? Anyways, that's that. And that would have been the biggest news story. And in a way, I think it is. But in terms of gaming, there's something bigger we need to talk about. The gaming industry, in case you guys couldn't tell, in case you guys weren't following along, the gaming industry fucking sucks ass right now. Like, really bad. So many companies are getting shut down. So many people are getting laid off. You got games releasing unfinished, games getting canceled, games getting, like, shut down, like, servers for games getting shut down. It's the worst thing. Like, we might be heading towards, this is, I'm getting off topic a little bit. Not really off topic, but, like, I'm getting sidetracked. We might be heading towards, like, a minor crash. Like, I don't know about a major crash, because the gaming industry is really big, but, some sort of crash. And that's not good. Well, Microsoft. As we all know, they own Bethesda. And last year, basically their entire slate was Bethesda games, aside from, like, Forza. Other than that, like, they had Starfield, which is disappointing, Redfall, which was really terrible, and Hi-Fi Rush, which was really damn good. I really liked Hi-Fi Rush. Well, we can't have nice things, because, excuse me, alright, back to this. We can't have nice things because Microsoft closed the Redfall developer, which is Arkane Austin, and they also closed Tango Gameworks, which is the developer of Hi-Fi Rush, and then they closed a couple of other developers. This comes to us from IGN. It reads, Microsoft has closed a number of Bethesda studios, including Redfall maker Arkane Austin, and Hi-Fi Rush and Evil Within developer Tango Gameworks, and more devastating cuts at Bethesda. Alpha Dog Games, maker of mobile game Mighty Doom, will also close. Roundhouse Studios will be absorbed by the Elder Scrolls Online developer ZeniMax Online Studios. Microsoft, currently valued at over $3 trillion, did not say how many staff will lose their jobs, but significant layoffs are inevitable. IGN asked Bethesda for comment. Microsoft declined to expand further when contacted by IGN. On Redfall, the disastrous vampire co-op game will now not receive promised updates, including an offline mode and new character DLC, as Microsoft has ended all development on the game. Microsoft said Redfall will remain online to play, and it will provide a make good offer for those who bought the Hero DLC. Arkane Lyon, which is working on Marvel's Blade, survives the cull, which is good, as does Bethesda Game Studios. They're the developer who made Fallout, Bethesda. Yeah, they made Bethesda, everyone. Now, they made Fallout, Elder Scrolls, and Starfield, and as well as Machine Games. They're the ones working on Indiana Jones. And then also, Doom developer id Software is also unaffected. So that's just what it says here. And then there's another headline within the same article. The reprioritization of titles and resources means a few teams will be realigned to others, and that some of our colleagues will be leaving us. So it reads, in an email to staff sent by Matt Booty, head of Xbox Game Studios, Microsoft blamed the cuts on a reprioritization of titles and resources. The email reads, today I'm sharing these changes I'm sharing changes we are making to our Bethesda and ZeniMax teams. These changes are grounded in prioritizing high-impact titles and further investing in Bethesda's portfolio of blockbuster games and beloved worlds, which you have nurtured over many decades. To double down on these franchises and invest to build new ones requires us to look across the business to identify the opportunities that are best positioned for success. This reprioritization of titles and resources means a few teams will be aligned to others, and that some of our colleagues will be leaving us. Here are the changes going into effect. Arkane Austin, this studio will close, with some members of the team joining other studios to work on projects across Bethesda. Arkane Austin has a history of making impactful and innovative games, and it is a pedigree that everyone should be proud of. Redfall's previous update will be its last as we end all development on the game. The game and its servers will remain online for players to enjoy, and we will make good offers to players who purchase the Hero DLC. Alpha Dog Studios. This studio will also close. We appreciate the team's creativity in bringing Doom to new players. Mighty Doom will be sunset on August 7th, and we will be turning off the ability for players to make any purchases in the game. Tango Gameworks, man, this one hurts the most, but Tango Gameworks will also close. We are thankful for their contributions to Bethesda and players around the world. Hi-Fi Rush will continue to be available to players on the platforms it is today. Roundhouse Games. The team at Roundhouse Games will be joining ZeniMax Online Studios. Roundhouse has played a key role in many of our recent game launches and bringing them into ZOS, which is the abbreviation of ZeniMax Online Studios, to work on their Elder Scrolls Online. To work on the Elder Scrolls Online will mean we can do even more to grow the world that millions of players call home. So, yeah, that was the email that was sent out. And look, this is frustrating. I feel like there was some goodwill being built by Microsoft, you know? Sony was kind of like taking a bit of L's with the whole Helldivers situation, and also like it seemed like they weren't really doing much this year. Nintendo's definitely winding down. This was the year for Microsoft to get going, and they got like Hellblade coming out in like 2 weeks, which I'll talk about that. They got Indiana Jones, they got Avowed, and they got some other games in the works that we're waiting to hear more of. To come out and shut down Tango Gameworks. I'll talk about Arkane Austin in a second. But Tango Gameworks, who put out their best game in God knows how long, their best reviewed game, it won them a Game Award, it won them a BAFTA Award, I think it won them like a DICE Award, which is also pretty big. And they just put it out on PS5. It's probably going to be coming to the Switch sometime this year. To shut down Tango Gameworks, who they're really creative, making a game like Hi-Fi Rush, a game with combat similar to Devil May Cry, but a rhythm game with a art style like Jet Set Radio. You shut them down. And you came out and said it was a breakout hit? You fucking liars? And I've spoken to someone from Bethesda, from the ZeniMax side of things. You know? If you're listening, you know who you are. But she told me, she thinks she's good. She doesn't think she's gonna get laid off. But it's not the most encouraging. It's not the most, you kind of just go into work like, unsure if that's going to be your last, you know, and unsure about your coworkers, you know. It's not good for the morale. And it's just, like, Microsoft is like we just read there, a $3 trillion, not billion, $trillion company. And I get it, why you gotta make some cuts. It's the harsh truth. It seemed like over COVID, they overhired, you know. That is, like, not just Microsoft, just companies, not just gaming, really. Like, we saw, like, a bunch of companies. Like, I remember eBay had some crazy layoffs. Amazon, I think, did too. So it's not just gaming, but gaming is, like, I feel like it's mostly game companies, but, like, it's just, like, they overhired, yeah, but, like, so there's layoffs, and then they're shutting down a whole studio. Like, that's even worse, I feel. And, like, the thing that I don't hear anyone talking about is, like, they just brought Hi-Fi Rush over to the PS5, you know? And like I said, I believe we're still getting a Switch version down the line. They had to have known. It just seems a little, I mean, like, this isn't, like, you can still do this while, you can, like, shut down a studio while bringing one of their games to other consoles, but it just feels like something just feels odd about that. You know what I mean? Like, they must have known. And Phil Spencer, Matt Booty, Sarah Bond, they're all liars. Like, I don't encourage you go and harass them. Like, I haven't seen them getting harassed, but I wouldn't be surprised if they are. If you're doing that, you're also the problem. But, like, call a spade. They're liars. Like, you can't come out and say that Hi-Fi Rush was a breakout hit and, like, you know, did really well for you guys, and then shut down the studio. And I get it. Tango Gameworks is, like, excuse me, they are, like, Shinji Mikami left, and Ikumi Nakamura, I think that was her name, she left as well, to form her own studio. I remember seeing her game at the Game Awards. It looks pretty sick. But, so it's not the same Tango Gameworks, and not even the same Tango Gameworks that worked on Hi-Fi Rush. I think Hi-Fi Rush was in development for quite a bit, and they just really kept it under wraps. But it's like, you acquire Bethesda, you acquire Activision, and you do this, you know? It's just like, what the fuck? Sorry, I had to get up for a second. Allergies again. Or maybe it's just this whole thing is really rallying me up. But kind of don't really remember what I was saying. But yeah, well, and to talk about Redfall and Arkane Austin for a second, like, I understand, like, Redfall's not the only game they made. They made Prey. But I also understand that, like, it's not the same Arkane Austin. You know, the people who made, like, the people working on Prey were not the same people who were working on Redfall. Right? But it's just, like, this could have been avoided. Redfall, I feel like Redfall, even if it was released finished, I can't help but feel like Redfall, like, fundamentally was just a bad game. It was just never gonna work. Excuse me. But at the very fucking least, Microsoft pushed the game out when it was not ready. You know? And now, like, almost a year late, like, I think Redfall, I actually do remember, it came out a day before my birthday last year. Happy birthday to me. So, I remember now, almost to the day, a year later, they shut down Arkane Austin. It's ridiculous. And that's not even all. This is a little side note. I remember seeing what was it, Mad Dog Games? I think that's what it was. Let me just reassure it. Apologies, Alpha Dog Games. Mad Dog Games, I think, is a different company. But Alpha Dog Games. Matt Booty, when he announced it, he said like Alpha Dog Studios, and then there was a correction to Alpha Dog Games. I guess this isn't as important, but if you're gonna lay off one of your own companies, at least get the fucking name right. Like, that's way the fuck less important than like everything else we're talking about, but I think that kind of reveals something about like maybe all these studio execs at Microsoft aren't really like as connected with all these other studios as maybe you think they should be, to not even get the fucking name right in like a press release. But okay, another article. Here's another article. This is because it's an update to the situation, and not like, oh, they're reversing it. Because, like I said earlier, with the Sony and the Helldivers 2 situation, that definitely was something that they could have backtracked and undone, you know, and they did. You can't really undo the closure of a studio, you know what I mean? Like, you kill a studio, that's it, they're done. But this comes to us from The Verge. Microsoft says it needs games like Hi-Fi Rush the day after killing the studio. So, it also says Xbox Studios leader described wanting small and prestigious games in a town hall with employees today. So, today, this is yesterday. Today, one day after Microsoft announced that it would shut down 4 of its game studios, Matt Booty, which, yes, I just gotta get the elephant out of the room. I've mentioned his name a couple of times. Matt Booty is a very funny name. But Matt Booty, head of Xbox Game Studios, held a town hall to discuss the division's future goals. Quote, "We need smaller games that give us prestige and awards," Matt Booty told employees, according to international remarks. Or, no, not an internal remarks shared with The Verge. For some listeners on the call, it was a surprising goal. Microsoft had just shut down the Japanese developer Tango Gameworks, which was coming off the small, prestigious hit title Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush, which was a surprise release last year, was praised for its innovation and charm. The rhythm action game featured music by the Black Keys and Nine Inch Nails, with an art style that invoked the hyper-stylized games of the PS2 era. Just 4 months after its release, Hi-Fi Rush hit 3 million players. During the 2023-2024 award season, the game went on to win a Game Award, a Game Developer's Choice Award, and a BAFTA. So I guess not a DICE Award, my bad. But a Game Developer's Choice Award, so. While Microsoft hasn't shared sales details, it was apparently they were apparently happy with the game. When rumors swirled that it wasn't doing well commercially, Aaron Greenberg, vice president of Xbox Games Marketing, wrote on X, fucking Twitter, man, that Hi-Fi Rush was a breakout hit for us and our players in all key measurements and expectations. So, and how the tweet actually reads, Hi-Fi Rush was a breakout hit for, the sentence I just read, and then it continues, "We couldn't be happier with what the team at Tango Gameworks delivered with this surprise release." So, okay, I don't think we blame this on Aaron Greenberg. I feel like maybe he was fed this and he was told to say this. I could be wrong. But even if I'm not wrong, even if he did say this, like, I feel like it still goes through, like, Phil Spencer and Matt Booty and Sarah Bond, you know? To have that, like, it was a breakout hit for us. To have that, to then, like, let's see, this tweet was April 2023. So, a little over a year later. To have that and then a little over a year later shut down the fucking studio, it sends a mixed message. The article continues, by all accounts, including Microsoft's own, Tango Gameworks made a hit and something wholly unlike anything it's made before. Before Hi-Fi Rush, Tango Gameworks was known exclusively for its survival horror games, including the Evil Within series and Ghostwire Tokyo. In an interview with Kinda Funny Games, Xbox head Phil Spencer spoke about how important it was for Xbox to allow studios to make games outside their comfort zones. In a quote here, it says, I want to give, this is from Phil Spencer, I want to give the teams the creative platform to go and push their ability, push their inspirations. So yeah, and it goes on a bit longer. Wait, there's a correction down here. Also, I was, so it was nominated for a DICE Award, but it didn't win it. So, it's like, so Matt Booty mentions that we need more games like Hi-Fi Rush after you close the studio that made Hi-Fi Rush. I don't even have words for this. I feel like every time Xbox fucks up, people want to dance on, I don't want to say dance on their grave because they're not dead, but like people want to just go around and be like, fire Phil Spencer. And like, I've never agreed with that because I always thought that was a bit extreme. And like, you can always see Phil Spencer, like, I don't know, he just has like a likability to him whenever he's on screen. Just, you know, he seems to like be all about gaming and all that, you know what I mean? And he does actually play games, you know, he's not one of these executives who's like there and knows nothing about games, you know. There's a lot of I'm telling you, there's a lot of gaming executives that just don't know anything about gaming, but they see the money it makes and they think they know and they don't. Phil Spencer, I can tell he's into video games. Like, he even plays PlayStation games, you know, like that's how you know. I'm not saying being a Sony fan is like the bar, but I mean, like, you know, he's not tied to his own console is what I'm saying. I think he has to go. I think I agree now. I think he has to go. He's done nothing. He's done nothing. He's done nothing but fuck everything up. Well, not everything. I don't want to say everything, you know. I don't think it's fair to say, like, he's done nothing. But I feel like he's done nothing to move the company forward, you know. I thought the Hi-Fi Rush was a good step in the right direction. Shutting down the studio that made it is like a step back. So we're back to square one. And then, like I said, we're getting Hellblade 2, we're getting Avowed, we're getting Indiana Jones this year, although Indiana Jones might get pushed to next year. But either way, like, we're supposed to be getting 3 Xbox exclusives this year. Like, I'm sorry, my brain just froze. First of all, okay, I'll talk about Hellblade for a second. That game comes out in 2 weeks. There's no marketing for the game. The game is... There's also no physical version of the game, and it's on Game Pass only. That's another thing. These games launch on Game Pass. Of course they're not going to sell that well, because they're on Game Pass. Why would you buy it if it's on Game Pass? Like... Game Pass is... like, great. I love Game Pass. If anything, it might be the reason I got an Xbox. But it's one of those things that's like too good to be true, but it's actually fucking true. And I think they're starting to realize... Well, no, they're not starting to realize, but we're starting to see that, like, it is too good to be true. And you gotta take a step back. Hellblade 2 comes out in 2 weeks. There's no marketing for it. You know? Like, I kind of keep forgetting it comes out in 2 weeks. You know, I kind of keep in track all the games I'm looking forward to playing. You know what I mean? So, and like when they come out, so I kind of knew in the back of my mind that this game comes out this month, but it's still like they're not like I wouldn't have known if whoops, 1 second. Sorry, I got a call from someone, but you know, I knew from the back of my mind when Hellblade 2 was coming out, but like I wouldn't have known if it wasn't for that, because they are not marketing it. So now it's kind of like, you know, and like this is a game we know about beforehand. Hi-Fi Rush was a shadow drop, which that's another thing. If you want it to do well, maybe don't shadow drop it, you know? Like, maybe it had a bit more of a budget than we thought. Don't shadow drop it. It was a cool shadow drop, don't get me wrong. It was a nice surprise out of nowhere, but like, maybe don't do that. You know, it's like a gimmick almost. In the short term, not really, it's not going to help you that much in the long term. Especially if it's on fucking Game Pass. Hellblade we know about, but like, they're not marketing it. And then yesterday, like, I guess they got some backlash, they got some flack for the lack of marketing. And so then they made a tweet, being like, Hellblade 2 comes out May 21st or whenever. It's like, that's it? That's it. Market your fucking game! I just don't understand this at all. And again, also, it's digital only. So, that's not inherently a problem. But, like, when you have Game Pass, like, there are people like me. I don't tend, if a game's on Game Pass, I just get it on Game Pass. But there are people out there who like collecting physical games. I like collecting physical games unless it's on Game Pass. That's, like, the one exception I make. But, like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, some Xbox exclusives that are on Game Pass, they still sell because people want to buy their physical versions. You lose that when you make this digital only, and you put it on Game Pass, which means, like, no one's going to buy it. They're just going to play it on Game Pass. So, honestly, like, seeing how Tango Gameworks got killed by Hi-Fi Rush, no, by Microsoft. Hi-Fi Rush didn't kill them. Microsoft killed them. But seeing that, I can't help but be a little concerned for Ninja Theory. And honestly, it goes a little further. I can't help but be a little concerned for Obsidian with Avowed. Although Obsidian, I feel like, can maybe handle it. But Machine Games as well, you know? These games could all be good, but, like, Hi-Fi Rush was really good, and it's still, like, Tango Gameworks still shut down. And even beyond that, like, this kind of went, I feel like this kind of went under the radar. No one was really talking about this. I did see, like, the new Perfect Dark game, the Initiative's Perfect Dark game, is, like, in a bit of a development hell at the moment. Does the Initiative come out of this, like, do they come out of this unscathed? Like, I'm worried for all these developers over at Microsoft, like, you know, and then that's not even, like, talking about Activision, you know? And I'm not even talking about the whole Game Pass thing where they're thinking of, like, raising the price. That's a lot. You know, going back to the original Xbox and the Xbox 360, you know, like, the name Xbox was filled with a lot of excitement and just hope, and, you know, just like, oh, this is, like, where we play, this is where the good games are. Like, the 360, like, there were some third-party games that weren't originally on the PS3. They were 360 exclusive because the 360 was, like, on, like, a technological aspect, a better console, you know? To now where it's just, like, vitriol and apathy and just, like, directionless. That's, the Xbox right now is directionless. it's like they got 3 exclusives coming out this year. It might have like maybe 1 or 2 more, but it's like they're just there. They're just coming out. You know, that's it. I feel like there's no direction from Microsoft for Xbox. You know, it feels like they like. I don't know. Like, there was a lot of goodwill. Like, I mean, Microsoft, I feel like I've been losing some goodwill over the years. But, like, a lot of people had some goodwill left in this company, and now they don't. You know? And I get it, these things happen, but, like, this felt... It kind of, like, I'm not there, and I'm not entirely, like... I don't know everything about, like, what goes on in there, in, like, these companies. But this didn't feel necessary, you know? I don't know, it's just... This is a shitty situation. And apparently more cuts are coming. So... Yeah, number 1 worst game of the year of 2024. The gaming industry. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Holy shit. Well, bit of a sad note to end the episode on, but that was this episode of DPX Talks for about an hour. What do you guys think about anything I talked about here? Thanks for listening. This was, I also noticed if you're watching on YouTube, I've been getting some new subscribers off the back of my new episode of Solo Mission, so thanks for that. This podcast I do once a month, maybe twice on occasion. But yeah, what do you guys think? If you're watching on YouTube, go over to my SoundCloud or Spotify, working on bringing it to other platforms. Go follow me there. Go give me listens, you know. It helps, even if, like, I think, like, you following me and you, like, listening to the episode, I think helps out. You know, if you're on any of the audio versions, go over to my YouTube, DPX Solo. I make these episodes of the podcast, plus other videos like game reviews, movie reviews, TV reviews, top 10 lists, and an original series called Solo Missions, and maybe some other occasional content. We'll be back next month with another episode of DPX Talks for about an hour. Take care, everyone.